Hey, what's up, everybody? This is Charles Sabansi. I want to welcome you guys to another episode of the Dreamers Pro Show, where we cover everything from sports, hot topics, classic debates, entertainment, and when we give you guys a fresh perspective on things and how we see them. And today we have a very special show. We're going to be interviewing Lakers legend Michael Cooper. It's an exclusive interview that you can only get on this channel, or if you go to Spotify and iTunes if you want the full interview. So before we even get into this interview, I want to give you guys a quick backstory. We were talking about a range of things in this interview, and I actually led off by asking him what it takes to be a great defensive player, and then he started talking about Draymond Green. So take a listen to the full interview here.
Yeah, Draymond has the ability to defend 5 positions. But again, today's game is ruled by the smaller perimeter player, and those are the ones that are knocking those threes down. So you got to be able to be a little bit more fleet of foot out there. You got to move around. You got to chase some of these guys. And Steph Curry is literally a track meet once they come on this side of on the offensive end.
Steph is something else. You're talking about defense, and I actually, before getting you on the show, I watched some footage of your game, and I listened to Larry Bird say that of all of the people that defended him in his entire NBA career, no one defended him as good as you. My question is, how did you approach your defensive assignment regarding a player like Larry Bird?
Well, for me, it was watching a lot of film. I watched a lot of film on Larry's games because I knew that we were probably, in order to win a championship, we were going to have to go through Boston. But the same I did with Dr. J and Detroit with Isaiah and Benny Johnson and those guys that we were going to play. So I think film work is very important because you get the chance to understand the plays that they're running for those players that's going to get them open. So with Larry, it was just about competing against him. And Larry's thing wasn't so much physical, it was more mental. And I had to kind of like try to get into his head, trying to deny where he likes his sweet spots down low or out on the perimeter. But Larry, the attention that you had to give him wasn't when he just had the ball. He became more dangerous when he threw the ball into the post or he got rid of the ball because he was going to do something to affect the offense, to affect the offensive end at that point in time, whether it's setting a back pick, whether it was doing something to affect the game.
Essentially, you were saying that he was very good at scoring without the ball, but also kind of being a decoy to always have the defense always on a swivel. Is it kind of similar to what Steph does or something different?
I think a decoy for him was going to be like setting a back pick. I think Steph is very well good at moving around. They set picks for him. But then Steph is a good screen setter too. So Larry was like that and some, and he was going to get an offensive rebound. So you had to pay full attention to him at all times until he got the ball and we were going the other way.
I think the reason we're bringing up Larry Bird, apart from the fact that he said you're the person that defended him the best ever, was just some comments that were made about him, but not just about Larry, just this kind of conversation around players from the past, talking about how, maybe their game couldn't translate to this current NBA. And I want to know, if you were playing in this modern era as a defensive player, as an NBA player in this particular era, do you think that you would be able to do just as well as you did before? Or do you think you'd be able to take your game even to a higher level, given the fact the game today is so open? I mean, it's so spread out. You can't really touch guys. It's a totally different league. How do you think you would fare in this current NBA today?
I think I would play a lot in this current NBA. I think the only ones that would give you problems would be a player like LeBron James with his size. But again, he's still kind of like a perimeter player. Kevin Bryant, would be a very, very difficult guard. And then last but not least, Kawhi with his strength and size. But again, today's game is played on the perimeter. It's about getting through screens, sliding your feet, staying down low, and being competitive when it comes to these guys shooting the three. So for me, I think I could still play in today's game, but there will be those ones that would create problems. And I only bring up just those 3, but there are many, many more players in this league that would cause problems. I think Ben Simmons in New Jersey is a big guy that could cause some problems for you. So I would play in this year. I know as far as being effective, I think I'd be able to alter or affect some of the shooting. But these guys nowadays can flat out shoot the basketball.
They really can. No, it's funny. It's funny you bring up Ben Simmons because on our channel, we don't talk about him so much. But whenever we do talk about him, and you can correct me, you can let me know your thoughts on this. I've always felt, and I think a lot of people have felt, that Ben Simmons came into the NBA. He was being compared to LeBron James, going to be the next LeBron. Very talented player, very quick, very talented defender, great court vision. But over the years, you kind of saw his game kind of plateau where he wasn't expanding his game. And this season, he's come back. He's pledging that he's going to have a great season. So what type of bounce back year do you think Ben Simmons will have this year for the Brooklyn Nets?
I think he's going to have a great season coming back. Again, he's went through some issues, and everybody that's pretty much known and stuff like that. So for that young man to kind of like put all that aside and come on and come back and do something that he loves doing, which is playing basketball. Ben Simmons is a tough guard. He can back you down low post, being 6'9", 6'10". He's a good rebounder, and with his size, he's able to make other players around him better. So I'm wishing that young man all but the best. Basketball is not all about the offensive end. Although I think Ben Simmons can score, but his head now that, his free throw shooting. And I think that's the one thing that he has to get out of his mind.
Yeah. I hope he does as well, because he said I think he's heard all of the chatter, everything that people have said about him. And I think he wants to prove a point. I saw some plays from him recently in a game where he hit like this behind the back pass as he cut to the, was cutting to the rim. Then he stole the ball and came down and dunked it. So he looks really good. Now, there was a conversation, because you mentioned Stephen Curry. We're talking about him. And recently there was this, not a back and forth, but it was being discussed, because I think Stephen A. Smith said that he thinks Stephen Curry is the greatest point guard of all time. Then I think Steph went on Gilbert Arenas' show, and I think he said that I consider myself to be the best. And then Magic Johnson, your former teammate, he was asked to kind of weigh in on who's the greatest point guard ever. And Magic basically listed off all of his accomplishments. So the question I have for you is, who is the greatest point guard in your mind, and why?
Wow, that's a great one. When we talk about great point guards, a lot of people now only see the players of today. And for me, Tiny Archibald, you want to go back that far? Those are guys that I grew up watching. Bob Cousy, playing with one of the best. Magic Johnson. Gus Williams was he's more of a scoring, kind of like Steph Curry. Steph Curry is definitely up there with the best. Isaiah Thomas, and we can go on and on. But you know what? Steph is probably, and I'm going to go down the list, said probably the best scoring guard, best point guard that this league has. Somebody that can score, make other people around him better, handles the ball very well. His defense could use some improvement, but you know what? He's from that old school Bob McAdoo. My offense is my defense. So and that's you get with Steph, because Steph is a unique individual. And you know what? There'll be many to come along after him, but he's one of the first ones that did it his way, and probably the best.
So we're getting it officially that you think Steph, because I know you said he's the best scoring point guard, but do you have him as the overall best of all time? I just want to get this answer out of you, just to push you a little bit. or
you know what?
If you want to plead the fifth, it's okay.
My loyalty lie with Magic Johnson. Magic Johnson's the best. I got a chance to get better and better. Hey, I practice against him. But you know what? You can't knock Steph, can't knock Chris Paul. I mean, if we get into it, we can keep to the list, but I'm going to go with Magic. Magic was a different breed, as Steph is, but again, at 6'9", Magic could do a lot of things that a lot of players could not do. Oscar Robertson, we're forgetting about him. So, but in my Magic, Steph Curry is definitely up there with the best.
So I wanted to ask you, now that we're talking about Magic Johnson, obviously he's one of the 5-10 greatest players of all time. And I didn't get to see him as much because I was born in 87, so I didn't watch his career fully. But I watched a lot of film on him, and I've studied his career after basketball as a businessman. What do you think? What do you think, in your opinion, made Magic Johnson such a great player?
His ability to refuse to lose. And I've never seen anyone like that. I mean, there are players that are like that, but I came up with Magic. I grew up with him. I played with him. I saw his growth from not being able to really shoot a jump shot to being able to knock down the three, creating the little baby sky hook, watching Kareem in practice. And then all of a sudden, as players, our skills diminish a little bit as we get older. And Magic moved his game inside more and had a little hook shot that he threw on the Celtics to kill them. So Magic, that's that type of player who he did not accept losing. And that's in anything. He's a card player, a big whisk. Magic doesn't want to lose at anything. Tiddlywinks, spades, dominoes, walking down. He didn't lose. So that's the one thing that amazed me about Magic, that he was able to prevail upon us, is that we weren't accepting losing. Yeah, losing is part of the game, but for the big wins and the games that we're supposed to win, no, we're supposed to win every game. And that's the one thing I'll say that separates him from the other players. He does not like losing.
It's quite refreshing to hear you say this, because from the outsider looking in as an NBA fan, every time I see Magic Johnson, he's always smiling. I rarely see Magic Johnson with like a serious face. So to hear you describe him the way you are, seemed like Magic Johnson was this ultra competitor. It seems like you're saying he's probably one of the most competitive players you've ever been around.
Oh, of course, among many. But you know what? It's like Lisa Leslie's book, Don't Let the Lipstick Fool You. Magic, don't let the smile fool you. He's going to smile. He's going to have a good what? He got that killer mentality. That was his that's his killer look right there. That smile. So
okay, the smile.
Off guard when he's serious, and all of a sudden he's in your throat, in your face, and he's winning the game.
So speaking of fierce competitors, Michael Jordan is one of my favorite players of all time. I think he's the best player ever. Some people agree, some people disagree. I have him there as the best. And I just want you to kind of, whenever we talk about the GOAT, what do you think makes an NBA player the greatest of all time? Because there's so many great players. You have Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, you have Magic Johnson, you have Jordan, you have Wilt, you have Mr. Russell, Bill Russell. You have all of these players. What do you think? What do you think it was about Jordan that made everyone say this is the greatest basketball player of all time?
Well, I think the GOAT, there are three things that, to me, that makes the GOAT. And just for the record, my greatest of all time is Kareem Abdul-Jabbar.
Okay.
The GOAT.
I got him number 2 on my list.
One.
So go ahead.
Okay. The GOAT, three things. One, how do you stop GOAT? Most of them. You stop Michael Jordan, you stop Kobe, you stop KD, you stop Steph. What do? You double. Sometimes you might triple team them to get the ball out of their hands. Okay. Kareem, you couldn't do that because he had the sky hook. When the Twin Towers, Olajuwon and Ralph Sampson came and they talking about Houston was going to dethrone us and they double team Kareem, sky hooked them guys right into oblivion. So for me, the GOAT cannot be triple teamed or double teamed. Kareem was a great. Okay, say you do double. Second thing is the GOAT willing to pass and make other players better. And that's what it is. So when teams try to double or triple team, Kareem was an excellent passer. Throw the ball in. If Magic was cutting, if people double team, he'd kick it out to somebody for an open shot. Every now and then it was me. Kick it to Worthy. So that's the second thing. And the last and final thing for the GOAT is you got to be able to shoot free throws. And for me, you couldn't foul Kareem down crunch time because Kareem was going to make his free throws. You know, Shaq, as great as he was, wasn't one of the best free throw shooters again, but he got better as he went on his career. But that was one of the probably Shaq's Achilles heel is when you foul him, you know, you're going to take a chance of going to the line. Now, Shaq a lot of times went there and made the free throw, but Kareem was going to make his. You couldn't foul him. So those three things Michael Jordan has, except for that double or triple team, because Jordan had the ability when he saw that double team come, he would throw it, but he was going to work hard to get it back. So again, that's why he is considered to get the ball. But if you kept two players on him, then you're playing 4-on-3 on that other side, and that's usually going to be a loss for your team. So those three things: making free throws, the ability to handle double and triple teams, and then make and all of that.
So then, now that we're bringing that up, I have to ask you, as a Laker great, as yourself, every now and then they bring out these lists of who are the greatest Lakers of all time, the top 5 Lakers. For me, it's a tough one. I can tell you mine, and you can let me know what you think. In no order, it's Kobe Bryant, Magic Johnson, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I have Jerry West, and I'm going to go ahead and say Shaq. Now, some people will agree or disagree. That's my list. As a former Laker, a champion, a person that played with that organization, in your mind, and you don't have to answer, but I'm just curious to know, who are your 5 greatest Lakers of all time?
In no particular order.
No order.
Again, you know, I'm going to go with Jerry West.
Okay.
I'm going to go with Magic Johnson.
Okay.
I'm going with Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. I'm going with Elgin Baylor. People forget about Elgin. That good. And my last one is hard because I want to put Kobe. I could put Kobe at 1A and Shaq 1B, or Shaq 1A and Kobe 1B. Some people may not like it, but again, that's how I feel about it.
No, sure. It's your list. No, for me, Kobe Bryant is my favorite player of all time. Like, I don't hide it. For whatever reason, now today it seems to be an unpopular position. I don't know why, because I remember when Kobe was winning his fourth, his fifth ring, they were comparing Kobe to Jordan. But now it seems like whenever they have these GOAT conversations, they don't really discuss Kobe. There's only like athletes that do, independent creators, but big media, they usually kind of leave Kobe out. Sometimes they have him in the top five, sometimes they don't. Why do you think Kobe, they don't mention him as much, or they don't mention him the way they used to in terms of like being one of the five greatest players of all time?
It's unfortunate that we lost that young man at such an early age, and I think it goes back to that kind of cliche saying, "Out of sight, out of mind." But again, Kobe is in all our hearts, and I think when people start reminiscing and thinking about who they are, they're thinking about the people that are still here. But you know what? Kobe has to be number one on a lot of people's lists. You know, not mine, because I saw a lot of players before him. But again, Kobe is right up there with the best. And I would have to say that's the only reason that people kind of like that he's not here on earth with us, is that they have a tendency to forget about him. But I'm pretty sure that a majority of the people, whether they're picking their all-time Laker players or just all-time NBA players, Kobe is still ranked up high with the best of them.
Speaking of ranking players, I'm not going to keep you too much, but I just speak now that we're talking about ranking players. And you can rank in any order. I was just curious to know, who are your five greatest NBA players of all time? Of all time.
See, I go back a long way. Like John Havlicek is a player that people have a tendency to forget. Connie Hawkins is a player people have a tendency to forget. David Thompson, one of the greatest that's ever played this game. But my all-time favorite, top five: Magic. I'm gonna go Kareem. I'm going to go Larry Bird, because you can't say Magic up there without Larry.
Without Larry,
they kind of those the NBA in the 80s.
I think that's four.
I'm gonna go Dr. J.
Dr. J. Wow.
I want Jordan on there. I want to put Kobe on there. I want to put so many people on there, because they're some of the best, man. But that's a hard one. All-time greatest, because again, I think every generation creates its own. Because I go back to the 60s, so I remember a lot of players, 60s, 70s, a lot of players.
Right.
I think talk about now. People think about now players. Chris Paul needs to be on one of those lists too. Kevin Durant, when his time is up, you got to him one of the best. So you got a lot of them, and I think that'll change with whoever you're talking to.
No, I wanted to ask you something that bothers me. I complain about it a lot on this channel. Commissioner Adam Silver just discussed this with on ESPN just the other day. The NBA had this kind of issue with low management, players sitting out games. Sometimes we send out games where they're not injured, they're just resting, and it just says resting, and then you have fans going to these games, they're not seeing players. What are your thoughts on low management? And I really want to get your opinion on this, and you can let loose, because for me, we keep hearing that players today are so much better, so much more athletic than players in the past. I always call baloney on it, because I'm like, how do we prove this? And to me, if these players are better than the players before, how come they're not as durable? What do you think about load management?
I don't like that. I think load management is a crock. But again, I like the adjustments that the NBA has made. Mr. Silverman, commissioner, has made, was them players having to be there. Two players can't sit out at one time, and then you still got to be in that arena. And you know what? You get paid to play.
Exactly.
My uncle, who's still working to this day, gets tired, but he cannot not afford to go in. He got to put food on the table for his family. So, but these guys today, they make so much money, and I understand you want to kind of save your product, because it's important that the guys are hopefully at their best. But you know what? At least try it. Okay, I know you're tired, and I saw Kareem, I saw Magic Johnson. Them guys were dead tired after a back-to-back, and had to fly domestic. They have now, we're flying charter, and they leave right after the game, and in the next city, then at 2, 3 in the morning. We had to wait till the next morning to leave. But I don't want to sound like one of them old guys.
No, you're saying the truth.
But but guys here, you know what? The fans make you. They make who you are, and you know what? They're the ones that are paying the bill because they're buying your uniform, they're buying your jerseys, and they're paying the money to come to the game. So they deserve to get their money's worth. And players, if you can try to play, play. If not, at least try. And if you can't, you got to be in that arena.
There's been this argument going around about Giannis Antetokounmpo going to go train with Hakeem Olajuwon, one of the greatest players of all time, one of the best centers in NBA history. Some people have been a little bit critical of Giannis going to go train with Hakeem because they're saying, well, his moves that he uses are outdated. They're not going to work in this current NBA. But we see players like Joel Embiid and all of that. What do you think about Giannis as a player wanting to get better and deciding to go play with to go work out with Hakeem? What are your thoughts on that?
How can people knock that? The kid wants to get better. And you know what? Why not work with one of the best low post players in our game today? And that's a player that we didn't even talk about as being in the top 5 NBA players. Olajuwon was a devastating center. And I don't know what they're talking about. His moves wouldn't work today. They don't play low post defense anyway. So again, those moves would kill somebody because right now the NBA is all about a dunk or all about the 3-point shot. So why not have that intermediate game, that inside low post game, and truly become unstoppable then? So kudos to Giannis for going to Olajuwon and trying to get better and expand his game. Because again, as you get older, the skills, you don't jump as high, you don't move as fast. So why not come down? If you look at Michael Jordan, what did he start doing when he got older? He started killing people in that low post.
In the post, yep.
Up. So come on, Giannis. Yeah, go ahead, man. Don't listen to the haters.
It's funny you're saying this. Gilbert Arenas, who I recently became friendly with, we kind of had this back and forth. Now, I don't know him so well, but he saw one of our shows, and he was a bit critical of Giannis going to work with Hakeem. With Hakeem, because he's like, you're going to be traveling, all of this. And I'm like, no, I think it's a great thing. But then Gilbert pushed back. He's like, you're not an NBA player. You don't know. You never played in the NBA. I'm like, well, I think it makes sense. It was quite refreshing to hear you say that. What do you think about Gilbert saying that Giannis shouldn't be wasting his time doing that?
I think everybody has their own opinions. I love Gilbert Arenas. We coached in the Big Three together. So again, like I said, that's his thoughts of it as a guard. But I mean, as somebody having to defend somebody in the low post, James Worthy, just his name one, having to guard him every day and him putting them moves on me, it kind of helped me defend other people. But Olajuwon had moves that you couldn't deal with, the dream shake and all that. So I mean, again, it's about a player wanting to get better. Why not? Why are you talking about him when he's trying to get better?
Well, I'll get you out of here on this question. It's a two-parter. Number one, how do you think Victor Wembanyama, what do you think his debut is going to be like this season? And two, who do you have winning the championship this year? I know it's early, but if you had to make an early pick, who would you pick?
Well, first of all, Victor, I think is going to be an excellent pro. I think what Coach Popovich is having a problem with him right now is where to play this young man. You can't
position?
Because he's so versatile and so nimble with the basketball that, and I caught one of their games last week is that when he tries to post up, people are going to try to muscle him, but he is on the line. He has an unstoppable shot. Who can get up there and block his shot? Nobody. So the guy can shoot that little 15-footer. If he gets into the low post, he has that little hook shot or jump hook, and his ability to handle the basketball and dribble full court and slam dunk the ball. Kid got a bright future about him, and what better coach to have Popovich along with Tim Duncan and David Robinson down there working with this young man anytime they get a chance.
Absolutely.
As far as who's going to win the championship, you're asking the wrong person because every year the Los Angeles Lakers are going to win the championship. They have to do it, but that's where my Lakers look. The Lakers are going to win the championship. If they stay healthy, AD got to stay healthy. He's a new face of the franchise. LeBron has passed that on to him. And Lakers are going to win the championship.
Lakers all the way. Lakers all the way. Mr. Cooper, it was an absolute pleasure to have you on the show. Great. I had a lot of fun. It's a great pleasure. Thank you for coming on. We look forward to having you again. Wishing you a fantastic day and have a great day today. And enjoy the rest of your week. Thank you so much, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Go Lakers.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Take care, my man. Okay.
Thank you. God bless. So we want to thank you for watching the full show. If you want to support this channel, please go over to Spotify or Apple Podcasts and search for the Dreamers Pro Show and leave a review. Thank you very much.